Welcome to the final presentation of the 2024 Asian Girls in Action Project,
欢迎
hosted
大
by
家
the
参
Garden
加
of
立
Hope
新基金
Foundation.
会主办的2024亚洲女孩永续
Your facilitator today. It is great to reconnect with many of you since we met in July in Taiwan. The Asian Girls in Action Project, initiated by the Garden of Hope Foundation, supports girls aged 15 to 19 in accomplishing projects aligned with the UN SDG goals. We can't wait to learn from all of our fellows today about their projects. I know you have poured in your heart and soul. So to kick off today's event, let us bring up on a virtual stage the chair of the Garden of Hope Foundation, Pan Aiwan 董事长. Let's welcome Chairperson Pan to say a few words. Pan 董事长有请.
Hello. Hello,
Hi.
everyone. Nice to see you again. Distinguished guests and the 2024 AGC Fellows, good morning and good afternoon. I'm truly delighted to be here with all of you today to celebrate the amazing progress we have made over the past 6 months. I would also like to sincerely thank each one of you for your support of the Garden of Hope Foundation. As you know, since 2012, in response to the United Nations International Day of the Girl Child, the Garden of Hope has launched the Asian Girl Campaign, aiming to build a platform to empower more girls leaders to promote gender equality across Asia. Last year, we introduced the Asian Girl in Action project, combining Taiwan's resources and practical experience to empower Asian girls. Through project-based learning, we have guided girls in implementing sustainable projects while working with partner organizations to empower these girls to become local community leaders. Furthermore, we create opportunities for them to speak out for girls' rights on the global stage. This year, the World Economic Forum's Global Gender Gap report has once again reminded us that gender inequality continues to hinder the achievement of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, particularly in education, the economy, health, and political participation. It will take women worldwide 134 years to achieve equality with men, and in Asia, it will take at least 181 years to reach these goals. Can you believe it? Girls in Asia and other gender minorities are facing a future where they will have to wait almost 2 centuries to enjoy the same rights as boys. That is why it is so important that we must act now and work together to speed up progress toward gender equality and sustainable development. Fortunately, we have over 100 applicants from 15 countries of this year's project, which shows that many girls are actively working toward sustainable development and gender equality in Asia. I had several opportunities to meet face-to-face with all of you, especially 10 selected fellows during the Power Camp. It's made me even more excited to see the results of your tryout projects. And it is such an honor that Garden of Hope Foundation can be part of your journey. The core spirit of the Asian Girls in Action project is to co-create global change through partnership and girls' empowerment. Therefore, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all our partners on behalf of the Garden of Hope Foundation. Thank you to the Chapter 1s to travel long distances with the girls, the facilitators who design and led the workshops, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Taiwan, and all the organizations that support the project. Today's presentation is designed with the theme of the Olympics, as the Olympics symbolize endurance, determination, and never giving up, qualities that align perfectly with the spirit of empowering girls at our foundation. And these traits are also the essential strengths needed by each of you when you promote gender equality and sustainable development. I would like to share another saying to all girls here. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Each of you, as an AGC fellow, has the potential to be the future leader of your community. How you lead your teams and collaborate with your partners to make a great impact will be your next goal. And we at the Garden of Hope Foundation are excited to support you. I look forward to seeing all of you like Olympic athletes, always ready to step onto the field with courage to face challenges, fighting for your dreams and rights, and standing firm for the sustainable development of the world. Finally, I want to extend my heartfelt thanks once again to all the partners who participated in and supported this project. The Garden of Hope Foundation is committed to staying true to our mission of empowering girls and achieving gender equality. And we hope to work with you all to create a more inclusive, fair, and sustainable future. Wishing you all peace and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. 谢谢潘董事长. Thank you, Chair Pan, for giving us such a comprehensive view of the project and also for delivering such a powerful and positive message for all of us, especially for the AGC fellows. And now I have a question only for the fellows, okay? Only for the 10 fellows. Are you more nervous? Nervous is Bob. Or are you more excited about giving this presentation? I'm going to count down 3, 2, 1, and you're going to give me nervous or excitement, okay? 3, 2, 1 for our fellows. Everybody has the sneaker. Everybody is excited. Nobody is nervous. That's wonderful. All of our fellows, they are super excited. They are super prepared. They are very ready for the final presentation. And I hope this warm-up exercise has helped you. Now get ready. And we will now be listening to our 10 fellows presenting their 10 SDG projects. When you hear your names, okay, this is now not announced. When you hear your names, you will be the first batch of fellows, the first batch of 5 fellows to present. So we're going to start Maya from the Philippines, Tandem from Bhutan, Chika from Indonesia, Sunshine from Taiwan, Sarah from Bangladesh. That will be your order. You will be the first batch of fellows to present. While our fellows get ready, Maya, you're going to be the first. I would also like to share with our audience and our online participants the framework, the format of today's presentation. As you will see, we're going to have these Olympic rings, and there's going to be the 5 elements, the 5 rings that will represent different components of the presentation. So for the first round, our presenters will cover ring blue, which is problem definition, and then ring yellow. That's about resource gathering and research. So each presenter will have 2 minutes to talk about blue ring and yellow ring. And then after the 5 fellows talk, we will have the second round. The presenters will cover the 3 other rings. They are collaboration, the black ring, the green ring about creative solutions, and then the red ring representing evaluation and reflections. And for this part, each presenter will have 6 minutes. So the 5 rings together, forming the Olympic logo, make up the full presentation of the fellow. We will also be keeping pretty strict time management. So when your time is up, we will have a timer on the screen. And I will also pretend to be the umpire, and I will be blowing a whistle to let you know that your time is up. We will also be muting your mic. There's also going to be ample time for discussions. So after the first 5 fellows finish, I will invite the jury to ask questions to our fellows. So during the talk, feel free to write down any questions you might have listening to the talks. So is that clear? Okay, I see heads nodding. So now I'm going to bring up Maya. Maya from the Philippines. You have 2 minutes for the first part. And when your time is up again, we will have the visual prompt here. And I will also be blowing the whistle to let you know that your time is up. So we have our staff ready for the time. And now let's welcome Maya from the Philippines.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Maya Yasmin Halcon, and my project is all about promoting healthy lifestyle, engaging the youth against smoking and vaping. Next slide, please. Heart disease, stroke, diabetes, lung cancer, throat cancer, all of these are not communicable diseases. They are brought about by our lifestyle. Next slide, please. Over 20% of non communicable deaths in the Philippines are attributable to tobacco use. More than 112,000 Filipinos die every year because of smoking, and recently a confirmed case because of vaping. Next slide, please. As of 2019, 1 of 7 Filipino youth aged 13 to 15 years old are vaping according to the Global Youth Tobacco Survey. Enticing flavors, easy access, and branding all contribute to the increasing acceptance of vape among Filipino youth. Next slide, please. Despite all the harms they bring, vapes are not being seen as a vice. Instead, they are presented and marketed as something that is positive or cool, which makes the Filipino youth think that it should be part of their lifestyle. Next slide, please. Given this challenge, how can I help mitigate and reduce the number of youth who are smoking and vaping? This is the gist of my project under the Asian Girls in Action Project 2024 under Garden of Hope Foundation. Thank you.
Thank you, Maya. Good use of time. I understand that it really takes a lot of courage to be the first one to go. Thank you. And next, so as you can see, we are dividing the presentation into 2 parts. And that's why Maya covered the 2 rings, and she's going to delve into the solutions in the second half of the talk. Next, we'd like to invite Tandon from Bhutan. The floor is yours, Tandon.
Yes. Hello, I am Tandin from Bhutan, and my project is called Ripples of Growth, Empowering Women Beyond Today, focusing on mental health of university students. Next slide, please. So the main thing is that teenagers face problems in their day-to-day life, and my project is based on university students. And in university, students do not feel comfortable reaching out to mental health services. Why? Because of the fear of judgment and taboo. Next slide, please. So my project is based on forming a support group between the university students, giving them a safe space to share their troubles and their stories. So it is called Ripples of Growth. And the main thing is the mental health, solving the mental issues of students by forming a group. Next slide, please. From the research I have done in my own university, I have done a small research which found that 47.8% of students keep the issues to themselves. Next slide, please. In another question, we can see that students of my university prefer another friend who is equal to them to share the issues. Next slide, please. So according to go on to research gathering, we have the main thing is the GOH funding, and another is getting facilitators and participants. And the main thing is the confidentiality contract forms to make the students feel comfortable in sharing their struggles and forming bonds so that they can know that they are not alone in the issues that they're facing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tandon. And then, so Tandon is mainly talking about mental health access, especially in a university campus. And now we're going to have our next speaker for this round. It will be, who remembers? It will be Chika from Indonesia.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Chika. I'm from Indonesia. My project is about waste barriers, let waste education for vulnerable children, particularly orphan. Next slide. So, the background of this project is actually when I passed the river near my house, a river near my school, it's all polluted with trashes and chemicals. And also there's a news about waste transporters protest in front of the region building regarding the increase in waste deposit rates. And I'm wondering why people is throwing their garbage, and it's not just because of the increase of deposit rates. So the government said to establish a waste bank processing household waste with 3R concept and keep the river clean. And I came with a question as youth, how can I increase awareness and positive behavioral changes regarding waste management among vulnerable children? And there's the picture of waste bank in my village. Next slide, please. Next slide.
Next slide.
Okay, so this is the statistic of waste in Sidoarjo. In 2021, Sidoarjo being the most city who produces garbages, like it's number one. And my project is about in SDGs number 4, number 10, and number 12. And according to UNEP, Indonesia is the second largest producer of plastic waste after China. Next slide. To understanding the problem through research, I conducted a discussion forum about this problem with young educators. Also, the source of research is from the news. Next slide, please. So the resources gathered for composting class, we need bucket. For waste management class, we need like interactive tools. And this is like, there's a theory from Dr. Maxwell Maltz. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chica. Later on, we're going to go into more details about the solution side. And next, we have Sunshine from Taiwan.
Okay. I'm sorry, is it clear? Because I changed
Yes.
to headphone.
Yes,
Okay.
I can hear you clearly, Sunshine. Go ahead.
Thank you. So hi, everyone. I'm Sunshine, and my project is Be a Change Maker for Climate Change. Next, please. So I've once heard a quote. It goes, if our children didn't grow up knowing about nature and appreciate it, they will not understand it. If they don't understand it, they will not protect it. And if they don't protect it, then who will? So everyone have heard of marine crisis, but because of inaccurate knowledge and misunderstanding, we chose to ignore it. So my project will be focusing on understanding about the causes of marine crisis accurately and comprehensively. Next, please. To achieve this, we have to start collecting stories and do research. So for me, I started in an island of Taiwan, Xiaoliuqiu. There, I interviewed many people and gained information from multi-perspective, such as the public authority, ocean conservationists, some professors and students. And so now I understand the full image of the story. And after analyzing all of these information, this is a result. I created a logic map that explained the causes of marine crisis. And as you can see, all of the factors of marine crisis, such as global warming, overfishing, human pollutions, all of these are connected in some ways. Yeah, so now we have created a documentary and some presentation slide, solid materials. We are ready to spread the information, to tell the stories, which will lead to collaboration, and I'll share it later. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunshine. Did you forget to tell us that in your first slide, the diver in the photo, that's you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's me when I was 10.
That was you when you were 10 and you started
Yeah.
diving back then already. Great.
Yes.
And then for this round, we have Sarah from Bangladesh.
Hi, everyone. I'm
Hi.
Sarah, and the name of my project is Project Baz Dreams, promote practical education through intergenerational learning. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. When I first launched my project, first slide. Thank you. When I first launched my project in Kumilla by doing sessions with parents, students, along with educators, I realized how much our education system lacks practical education. And that is one of the core questions that my project asks. How can we improve the quality of education and promote practical education in Bangladesh? Why is it essential? Because of the lack of practical education for the children aged 5 to 12, limited quality resources, and also how our traditional education focuses only on theoretical knowledge. Next slide, please. But that is only one major part of our project. What is the other part? As a teenage volunteer myself, I've come across the fact that there aren't many feasible leadership and mentorship opportunities for teenage volunteers in Bangladesh. But why is that? Because schools often prioritize academics over extracurriculars, and the lack of structured mentorship programs, leaving teenagers with a lack of experience. And also that teenage volunteers do not get the recognition and respect for their contribution as a young leader. Next slide, please. To understand the problem of education in Bangladesh from the ground up. I involved myself with local schools and also created collaboration with organizations such as Garden of Hope Foundation and Volunteer for Bangladesh to understand the problem and conduct research to learn the specific learning gaps of Bangladesh's educational system. Next slide, please. By also launching our workshop, which is our first event, we were able to connect with teachers, educators, and parents and learn about the specific problems about where exactly practical education is needed in our system. And also, by conducting surveys and interviews, we were able to learn and identify in which specific areas practical education is the most needed. Thank you.
Great. Perfect use of time. So that's our first round, and that gives you like a sense of the 5 projects. We're going to invite them back. So now we're going to go into the second round, and you will have 6 minutes to talk deeply and also slowly and clearly into the 3 other rings, mainly solution, the collaboration, and also evaluation and reflection. Before we start, I see that there's a hand raised by Sushila. Maybe we can have our staff text you to see if there are any questions that you might have. But here, I'm going to now invite Maya back on the stage. And each of you, you will have 6 minutes. You can just take your time. You're using your time really well, and we really want to hear about the solution part of your projects. So I will encourage you to just talk at a moderate speed so we can all get the main points of your presentation. And we're going to have Maya. Now you can start to continue in guiding us along your journey of fighting against smoking and vaping, especially for young people. Maya, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon again. I am Maya, and this is the second part of my presentation. Next slide, please. My project is in partnership with Parents Against Vape, or also known as PAV, a non-government organization that focuses on promoting public health and preventing the youth to get from getting addicted to smoking and vaping. For collaboration and networking, in August, we did 3 major activities. First is to capacitate and train the elected village youth officials called Sangguniang Kabataan, the first photo here, of all 25 villages in Kasiguran, Sorsogon, on the harms of smoking and vaping. This resulted in the formation of Youth Against Vape Kasiguran chapter. As of today, we have Youth Against Vapes in the 2 famous islands of the Philippines, Sorsogon, Laguna, Pasig in Luzon, and Davao in Mindanao. Second, a similar engagement was held for parents in the village of Santa Cruz, Kasiguran, which resulted in the creation of a local Parents Against Vape. Collectively, we were able to reach more than 40,000 people as our trainings have been cascaded by the youth officials and parents in their respective villages. On the bottom left, this is a group photo with the youth officials of Kasiguran. The 2 remaining photos on the right is I am giving a speech to to, to the students of Del Carmen Memorial High School. Next slide, please. For media engagement, while I was in Kasiguran last August, I was also invited together with PAV for media interviews. I had 2 radio interviews, and I took the opportunity to promote AGC and to encourage more young girls to join and implement a socially relevant projects. Next slide, please. For public official support, I had an opportunity to talk to the municipal vice mayor who committed to pass an ordinance that strictly regulates the use and selling of vapes. Last Thursday, the chief of staff of Vice Mayor Dennis Escudero, the one on the left, called us to say that the ordinance is up for discussion and passage this coming Tuesday, October 8th. This is a huge policy win for us. Next slide, please. For my creative solution and the third activity, we conducted poster making workshops and engage the youth to help them visualize the harms of smoking and vaping. This is an innovative way to communicate with the youth, especially since they were able to produce a visually engaging outputs. The more than 40,000 people whom we were able to reach are just a small part of the Philippines. However, continuous engagement with national organizations and also non-government organizations like Sangguniang Kabataan and Parents Against Vape ensure sustainability of this project and ensures that it will reach more and more people. My activities and the way they were implemented considered the PBL approach. I made sure to involve critical thinking, collaboration, communication, and creativity. Next slide, please. Overall, evaluating my project, I can confidently say that my project and the activities under it were a success thanks to all the people who made it possible. Moving forward for my next steps, I am planning to strengthen the Youth Against Vape organization so that it can engage and reach more people to join the advocacy. Moreover, I hope to create compelling short video documentaries to humanize the issues of smoking and vaping. This way, actual and real stories are put out on public to discourage people, especially the youth, from taking on the habit of smoking and vaping. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening.
Thank you. Um, thank you, Maya, for giving us 2 minute plus 6 minute, a very comprehensive understanding, and also how you spread your impact of including at least 40,000 people in your series of trainings. I'm sure the jury member will have more questions for you. So you pretty much now get the format. This is like a two-part presentation, and together we cover the 5 rings and have a good idea of the entire project. So now we're going to invite Tandin back on stage. Tandin from Bhutan.
Yes. Hello. May I start?
Yes, go ahead.
Hello again. Let us dive deeper into how I implemented my project of Ripples of Growth. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yes, collaborations. So I want to, before I start my presentation, I want to say that my project could get a kickstart only in the month of September because of some issues that happened in Bangladesh, and I had to return to my country. So it had a big impact on my project, the timeline. So getting back to my university in the month of September, I could successfully kickstart with my project. And the collaborations that I got was from the Mental Health Center of the university, my university, that's Asian University for Women. And I could collaborate with the doctors and psychologists, and they were the stakeholders of my project. It was based on a group of students, and from that space, if there are any issues that we cannot comprehend, then those were the stakeholders, the psychologists and doctors from the mental health center. Another was the experienced students from the institution who played the role as facilitators. And then another is guest speakers, and the stakeholders also are dean of students and the psychologists. Next slide, please. So the funds were allocated in such a way that we had refreshments, prizes, and the materials for interactive activities. As I've mentioned, due to the political and social unrest in Bangladesh, the sessions was shortened, and it was only for 3 weeks, and therefore the funds allocated were also less. Next slide, please. So the impact of the project was mostly shown in the Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram through the projects page. And these posts helped raise the awareness of issues discussed, the activities that were implemented as well. Next slide, please. So moving on to the creative solutions that I have explained to you, that the teenagers face mental health issues, but they do not feel free to go to the psychologists of university health centers. We have creative solutions, that is Ripples of Growth, empowering women beyond today, as it offers a safe space for the group of students. and they can discuss their issues openly and freely without the fear of judgment. For this, we have the main thing that is called contract of confidentiality form, and these states that the students are to keep the talks in the room only and are not allowed to share any of the issues discussed in the circle. So this makes them, this gives them the safe space to share their issues. And when they share the issues, it has been helpful to build the bond of how they are similar to each other. Next slide, please. So upon implementing all these activities, the reflection and the lessons that I learned were, there were the positive feedbacks from the participants that they found it so useful, and it was the feedbacks were all positive, and they said that the group served as a safe space, and they were feeling that discussions were so related to them and they could improve their confidence, and the university life became more easier. So the meeting objectives were encouraged to communicate on mental health. Most of them shared their struggling moments in the university, and although we cannot have university to improve the facilities, they said that the space served as a space to share their struggles. So another thing was stress management and teenage pregnancy and menstrual hygiene that we had from the doctors and psychologists from our university. They talked on and the lectures were given. So interactive activities were also conducted. Games like empathy and balloon activities helped build trust and foster community, making the sessions both fun and educational. Next slide, please. So the challenges faced were, as an international students, there were difficulties in logistics and cultural barriers. Political unrest also caused delays to the project timeline, and budget implications because of the shortened timeline. There were unused funds, and the lessons learned were importance of building a local network before starting a project for smooth implementation. Next slide, please. So for future improvements, I plan to involve more participants and gather consistent feedback through surveys. Because of the timeline, it was shortened, and if the timeline if it proceeds as normal, then I plan to involve more participants in cohort-based batch 1, batch 2, so that we can get more feedbacks. And the long-term impact was the project laid the groundwork for future mental health and women's empowerment initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you, Tandin. Thank you. And then we're going to hear welcome back Chika. Chika back from Indonesia, talking about the waste management issue, especially in her neighboring community. Chika, you will have 6 minutes to make complete your presentation. Go ahead, Chika.
Hi again, everyone. So I'm going to talk about my project Waste Barriers. Next slide, please. So I work together. So I did a collaboration with schools or educational institutions such as Junior High School to Bangil, and also the children, around 70 children for the volunteers. I'm very happy that Queen from AGC 2023 joined me on my project. Hi, Queen. And also volunteer from students from NU Sidoarjo University. For a partnership, I did a partnership with NGOs, LMI, and also I working with young and senior cadres of Waste Education Village or Kampung Edukasi Sampah. Next slide, please. This is the fund allocations for transportation, printing, consumption, and tote bags, and also for rewards. Next slide. For the media exposure, I'm very grateful that myself was being covered by Suara Surabaya news radio station. Like on their Instagram, they have more than 700 followers, and my post is have 3.5 thousand likes. Also on their Facebook account, there's more than 1.6 million followers at Facebook. Also on Twitters, they have 1 million followers at Twitter. So it's expanding the impact of my project. So for another national portal news, they cover about not just about myself, but also my project in Kampung Edukasi Sampah, and also my project when I was at junior high school to Bangil. And this is for the Instagram insights. In Kampung Edukasi Sampah Instagram, there's more than 15,000 views and more than 11,000 followers. And for my project, Waste Warriors, we have more than 1,000 views and 40 followers. Next slide, please. So about the project overview, so Whispers is a hands-on educational program aimed at teaching vulnerable children, particularly orphans, about effective waste management. And the program blends theory with practice to ensure lasting behavioral changes. We held waste management classes. It's not just a teaching classes, but we did it with like interactive tools, and also we did a composting with Takakura method, and we also did traditional games and eco break session with Queen HEC 2023, and we also held the pre and post test to know about the students' understanding. The differences between my project is that we did an online monitoring to know about the students or the participants behavioral changes. Next slide, please. So the impacts of my projects is the increased knowledge and understanding. Before the activity, more than 70% understand. After the activity, increased by 80% to more than 90%. So for the behavioral change, we already did or complete the online monitoring with the LMI scholarship recipient, and what the LMI mentor said that they said 80% satisfied of my activities on waste barriers, and also we also teach about practical skills and about the media and stakeholders recognition. My project recognized by East Java Provincial Education and Culture Office with with almost 50,000 followers. Next slide, please. So the challenges is the participant engagement, because the participant is ranging from 7 until 9th grade. So we came with creative methods and travel difficulties to junior high school to Bangil because of the poor roads, and feedbacks from senior educators to measure the success of this project. It's not just from the test, but also to track participants' behavioral changes and ask to their mentors of their behavioral changes. From Queen HEC 2023 to support the children economic, she said to create a waste bank for orphans. And the third is from young caterers. It is recommended to hold this kind of activity on school holidays. Next slide, please. So for the future plans, I plan to expand the collaboration with another institutions and to enhance follow-up and monitoring, like creating a dedicated group chat for students or G Drive. Also to diversify the learning materials, not just waste management, composting, eco bricks, but also invite them to do 3R concept and the renewable energy sessions. And the last is to create a Sedekah waste bank for orphans, that the results for money from this waste bank are dedicated to help the orphans economy. Thank you.
Perfect. Perfect time management, Chica. It's also great to hear from you about how Queen, also our fellow from the 2023 Asian Girls in Project, that you are able to collaborate and also to get input to really create these ripples from the Asian Girls in Action Project. Thank you, Chica. And next, we'd like to invite back onto the virtual stage Sunshine from Taiwan.
Okay, hi everyone.
Hi.
So continue on how we share the story. Well, we use school as a platform because is where people get educated, and it will be the most efficient place to spread the knowledge. Well, at first, I was only thinking to execute the program in Taiwan, but after the Power Camp, I've experienced the power of synergy from you guys, from the AGC fellows from all over the world. So now I want to bring the project from locally to internationally. So, for example, currently my tryout project is implanted in San Francisco, and the students and faculty, they are really interested in the project. But because the culture was really different, so I have to readjust the materials and the way of teaching, and like how to make it more attractive and more inspiring. And the training session, it gave me a lot of good experiences. Oh, sorry, I forgot to change the slides. Next, please. Yeah. So as you can see in the map, I labeled Philippines and Indonesia. It's because it is the center of the world's ecosystem, and also the places me and my family visited the most. So there we have the diverse resource to engage and communicate with, and with their help, we can enhance our project. Next, please. So creative solutions. What is special about my project? Well, when we bring our project, instead of presenting the materials by ourselves, we empower the class representatives from all class in the school. They will do the presentations. And this will take about 5 training sessions to get them confident about public speaking and know the content. And the creative solution will be based on 3 insights. First, the people who are interested in this topic, they don't usually get the knowledge and the stage to perform. So this project will be the perfect opportunity they need. Second, the classmates, listening to their classmates presenting will be more convincing than listening to a stranger, because they have the connection that we don't have. And third, the school, they encourage those peer cultivated programs. So they will provide us plenty of supports. Next, please. So far, we are all focusing on creating content and the seeding program. But my third phase, building network for partners, is really important too. But we haven't gone that far because we have to make sure the first 2 phases are really solid. But once we get there, we will collaborate with the KOL, the key opinion leaders. Then we will continue engaging with the ocean conservationists. Their stories will be told in our documentaries and in the seeding program. But at the same time, they will share my stories in their circle. Then we will invite foreign NGOs as a trainer. So they therefore exposing my project in outside of the country, and also we can learn more globally informations. Then we will collaborate with the community leaders so we can have activities such as beach cleaning. And then when the project is mature enough, we will work with the government agency to put this project into a part of school curriculum to make it more sustainable in the future. So during this project, I've faced many challenges, but every time I thought of the EdUC fellows because they've encountered a lot too. So it always motivates me that someone is fighting with me at the same line, and they press on, they kept going, so I have to too. And also during the presentation in the school, you will see the audience eyes are sparkling. They're listening with their mouth wide open. They're so amazed and interested in. And also today, after the presentation of the class representatives, you can see the smile of achievement on their face. So seeing all of these, I feel like this project is going to success, and everyone can be a change maker. So together, let's create more synergy power and bring an impact to the world. Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Shiqing. Thank you, Sunshine, especially for sharing with us how the fellow as the Asian Girls in Action fellows give you the power, especially when you are in difficulties, when you find that it's very difficult, like maybe you have these hurdles, but you think of your fellows and you feel motivated, and also the sparkling eyes from your audience. A lot of you are engaging in these big trainings, you're talking in front of huge crowds, and you get the energy from the audience that you are working with. So that's wonderful sharing. And for the last fellow for this round, we have Sarah from Bangladesh, bring back to the issue of enhancing practical education in her country. Let's bring back Sarah from Bangladesh.
Hi, everyone. Let me get started again. Next
Sure.
slide, please.
Next slide.
So
Go ahead. Yeah, we will bring up the next slide. You can start.
Project Batch Dreams is the project of my dreams. And if I wasn't part of this year's Asian Girls in Action campaign, I wouldn't have been able to collaborate with the Garden of Hope Foundation Taiwan and create a partnership with Volunteer for Bangladesh to allocate sufficient funding and manpower to launch my project in Kumilla. Through this collaboration, I was also able to involve my project with local schools in Kumilla and was able to have the opportunity to launch my project in their school. Parents were also helping us facilitate our project and showed us proper support that helped us gain popularity for our project in Kumilla. Next slide, please. Through this project, I was able to learn that media is very much interested in improving and promoting quality educational opportunities in Bangladesh. Through our enthusiastic media partners, CTV, Kumilla Tribune, Kumilla 25, and Ruposhi Bangla, we were able to garner enough media coverage to create an awareness about our project all over Bangladesh. And through this media coverage, we were able to garner over more than 2,000 followers in our social media accounts in a time of 30 days. Next slide, please. With the growing popularity of Project Badge Dreams in my city, I was able to recruit 9 enthusiastic volunteers from the pool of 25 applicants, and they now play a key role in the initial stage of my project plan. And through them, I'm able to promote my project to the teenage audience in my city. Next slide, please. In the initial stages of my project, I was planning on creating school clubs. So the question is, why was I creating school clubs? Because through these school clubs, we plan on giving the teenage volunteers an opportunity to be mentored by our competent volunteering body and have proper experience to be able to learn how to become a good leader and mentor. And through this club activities, we want to teach students from the age of 5 to 12 practical skills. But why are we creating this pathway? Because we want to promote intergenerational learning by involving 2 different age groups. And through these teenagers, we are trying to promote practical education to the children of age 5 to 12 in Bangladesh. Through these interactive workshops, we are promoting skill-based learning and leadership development. Next slide, please. To understand the specific learning gaps and practical educational opportunities in Bangladesh, we launched our first event where we talked and had surveys and interviews with leading educators, teachers, and students' parents to know where practical education is the most needed and how much interest they have for our project to be launched in Kumilla and all over Bangladesh. Next slide, please. After learning about the overwhelming interest for our project through our first event, we launched our second event, which was the volunteering recruitment and school launch. In our volunteering recruitment, we recruited 9 enthusiastic volunteers and created a session where we taught them practical skills such as leadership, time management, and mentorship through creative storytelling methods. And right after that session, we did a school launch where we let them have the opportunity to learn about these set skills through a creative and realistic approach. In our school launch, we taught kids from the age of 10 to 12 fire safety. Why did we choose fire safety as our first practical skill in our first school launch? It's because fire incidents in Bangladesh is a very common occurrence. So in this school event, we tried to teach kids how to contact hotline numbers, helpline numbers, and to help them keep themselves safe in a fire incident by practical demonstrations where kids are able to learn how to escape a fire. Next slide, please. Through our initial promotional activities, we were able to reach a wider audience of parents, supporters, students, teachers, and educators, and school partnerships that has marginally increased since I've made this slide to present times. Through the initial promotional activities, we've been able to reach more than 200 parents and more than 200 supporters that can be seen across our social media platforms. We were also able to reach more than 100 kids from the age of 5 to 12 and teenagers that are now increased to 50. And also, we were able to create school partnerships with more than 5 high schools in Kumilla. Next slide, please. But from the feedback and evaluations we were able to gather from students, parents, educators, and teenage volunteers, we have made some clear adjustments to our project. And based on their input, we have learned that the mentorship programs that we have made for our teenage volunteers should be in person and workshop based instead of creating sessions that are classroom in a classroom setting. There should also be specialized workshop for volunteers because the volunteers that start on an initial stage are not well prepared for rural school visits and events. We're also planning on broadening our outreach by involving ourselves with community stakeholders such as local businesses. And also we are planning on creating monthly evaluations to know how much we can improve our project on a monthly basis. We're also planning on making a structured curriculum that is age appropriate for students who are involved in our sessions. And also we want to utilize our social media platform by creative storytelling methods. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. And that gives us our first 5 fellows. We're going to do a virtual applause. Can you raise your 2 hands and just wave? This is how we do our virtual applause. Great job. Great job to our first 5 fellows. And now we're going to proceed to the second batch of fellows to deliver their presentations following exactly the same format. Sabnam, are you ready? Sabnam from Nepal.
Yes.
We will call out your slide and we'll let you start. 2 minutes for the first round for problem definition and resource gathering and research. Sabnam, the floor is yours. 2 minutes. Sorry, the timer is 2 minutes.
Okay.
Give us a second. Okay, go, Sabnam.
Namaskar and greetings of the day, everybody. This is Sobnam Sunar, and my project is about greening pocket, a step towards revolution. Next slide, please. Due to the overuse of plastic products and the wrappers, due to the lack of awareness, I got to find out that my community is being affected by the plastic pollution. And to generalize the use of our pocket as our first dustbin, I initiated this project to come out and to be executed in the community. Scenario of contributing to the environment in a half-a-jar way made me decide, okay, I have to contribute something to this environment as a human, and intend to contribute a bit to Mother Earth as a human. I selected this project. This project basically aims for the SDG number 5, that is life, that is clean water and sanitation, and number 15, life on land. Next slide, please. So what drive me to act? The unmanaged plastic waste. People use the different industrial materials wrapped by the wrappers, polythenes, and plastic bags. They threw it everywhere. They are unaware about how to manage it. And the dumping of the degradable waste, they are not aware of how to convert this waste into the compost manure as a biofertilizer. So these are the scenarios which made me to act out and speak. So should I think, and I should think about all the things which are going in the community as a citizen of the community. Second slide, please. Next slide, please. So the scenario of gathering information, I had a group discussion with the intellectuals and experience of my own, because I have lived in that own community. I have suffered a lot. So the experience, the visions that I have gained through the community, made me strong about this opinion. Interaction with the senior stakeholders and the locals who have actually suffered through it, and through the intellectuals, and also the information were gathered from the social medias, and also from the wars which are neighboring and people who have been living in the same wars. Thank you.
Thank you, Sabnam. A good use of time. And then Hilit from Israel.
So hi everyone, my name is Ilit Shachar and I'm from 16 years old from Israel. And I'm from an organization called the Future Holders, meant to empower young girls, both Jewish and Arabics, to work together and be leaders of change. And this is my project, Eco Rival, the Bottle Battle. Next, please. Next, please. So what's our problem? So as you can see, in all of this picture are 4 sea turtles, and each one of them died because of plastic pollution. Well, they used to be happy and look like this, but they do not look like this anymore. And unfortunately, we found out that every year 100,000 marine animals die because of plastic waste alone. Next, please. So we asked ourselves, what can we do to help it? How can we change the situation? Well, minimize the use of plastic and recycle. But unfortunately, when we checked, only 14% of plastic, only 14 in my country is recycled. And in other countries, the numbers are even lower. Next, please. So we had one main question in mind. Why don't there is a mistake in the slide, ignore it. Why don't children and adults recycle? Well, some may say it's because lack of awareness or it's time consuming and they're just unmotivated. So we try to figure out how can we create a solution that would encourage children from an early age to recycle and save the environment, and through them reach the older generations and the entire community. Next, please. So after a small research, we found out that competition and games are a key way to motivate learning among children and teenagers. And that's why, with that still in our mind, we try to find a solution that would encourage children to recycle, be enjoyable, and be a game changer in the recycling field. And that I will explain in my next slide. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Hilit. And then we're going to invite Niraja from India for your 2-minute presentation on ecotourism in India.
Hi, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So, hi, everyone. My name is Neeraj Vaimbe. I'm from India, and my project is the Tourist of India, that is Pravasi Bharat. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah, thank you. So, these are the balancing equation. So, this is what made me observe my problem, that tourism is responsible for global economic development. However, it is also responsible for generating 8 million tons of plastic. So this is the problem that I wanted to solve. Next slide, please. So these are the problems caused due to tourism, that is environmental depletion and community clashes. Environmental depletion includes commercialization, disturbance, no provision for waste management, etc. Revenue leakage, inappropriate behavior, and tourist interference lead to community clashes. Next slide, please. So why sustainable tourism? So sustainable tourism made me realize that students like me are highly unaware about the negative aspects of tourism and the importance it holds. It achieves the perfect balance between the environment and the economy. Next slide. This is my resource gathering. So I planned 2 visits to 2 eco-tourist villages in Maharashtra for my research. I collaborated with 10 schools in Pune, organized presentations and created promotional drafts. I met with experts and NGO members and designed a social media campaign and a website. Next slide, please. So this is my research that I gathered. So from Purashwadi, it's a fireflies village where they cancelled an entire fireflies festival due to the negative impacts of tourism. I made this based on the information available on the Forest Department of India website. So this is the feedback that I incorporated from the power camp. So from the fishbowl round, there was suggested that I could gather some secondary data, and it was extremely helpful for me. So I contribute that towards the power camp. And environmentalists also claim that tourism will be extremely harmful for the fireflies environment. Thank you. That is the first part.
Thank you, Niraja. And just a reminder, because you are holding your mic, so when you deliver the 6-minute, you want to make sure that you don't move your hand. So the distance keeps the same, so we can hear you clearly. Otherwise, you'll be breaking up. But great job, Niraja. And next, we'll like to invite Sophie from Mongolia. You ready?
Yes, I am. Okay. So, hello, my name is Sarmong, but you can call me Sophie instead. I'm 16-year-old from Mongolia, and my project is called Equal Play. So my project is mainly about female athletes. It's more directed towards empowering girls and breaking barriers. So its goals is to raise awareness, empower female athletes, and create inclusive environments. But when I was first talking about this project, I thought maybe girls faced inequality. But after doing research and maybe 300 girls, after interviewing them, the problem definition was gender bias, unequal opportunities, and negative impacts. And the most important thing was changing rooms and bathrooms, unclean environments. And yeah, so that's it. The problem definition. 2 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Have you talked about the resource gathering and research?
Oh, yeah, I totally forgot. So, conducted a survey about 300 female students, and yeah, the key findings are restroom and changing room issues. 70% of athletes reported difficulties with restroom and changing, female and male, but it was mostly from the girls. Yeah. Then discrimination and harassment from their family and friends, which was 35%. Then lack of resources. Some, schools or, extracurricular sports centers don't have, coaching or equipment or like any funding. So they tend to be their environment is very like dangerous. Then societal pressure, especially for girls in male empowered sport dynamics, they tend to be they tend to get like more social pressure. And
Got
that
it.
was, yeah.
Thank you, Sophie. Just a quick question. We were wondering what's the most popular sports, especially for women in Mongolia?
Oh yeah, a lot of girls play volleyball. Everybody plays
Volleyball?
volleyball around here. Yeah,
Okay, so girls volleyball.
yeah,
Great. Can't wait to hear the second part of your solution. And then the
yeah.
last for this round, it will be Zainab from Pakistan.
Oh, okay. I hope I'm audible since I changed my headset.
No worries.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
two minutes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Zainab bin Timran, and my project is called Reaching the Unreached, Eliminating CEFM, that is Child Early and Forced Marriages in Bahawalpur. Next slide, please. So, in District Bahawalpur, an alarming increase in the rates of child early and forced marriages was observed, along with gender based violence that was associated with CEFM. So, what Parvaso and me tried to do through this project was to bring out a decrease in CEFM along with gender based violence, as well as to increase school enrollment rates so that we can empower women and they can lead better lives in future. Next slide, please. So, me, along with Parvaso, conducted the survey in District Bahawalpur to see how many women are already affected by CEFM and how many more women are vulnerable to CEFM. And the statistics that we obtained were shocking. 18% of women were married before age 18, while 3% were married before age 15, while 4 out of 5 girls there were married forcefully. Then we tried to look what caused these statistics. It was orthodox norms, poverty, and child labor. Since the village of Bahawalpur is a backward area and it is a cultural tradition for children to get married early there, it was one of the major reasons for child marriage over there. Poverty is another major reason because majority of the parents are unable to provide for their children, which results in them getting married early because they believe that their in-laws will look after them. Child labor is one of the major causes as well, because all those children that say no to child labor are obviously married young because their parents ask them to do work or otherwise get married. And then through my project, we tried to tackle all these problems so that we can create a better environment for girls in that village. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Zainab. And maybe you would like to switch back to your previous mic. That might be clear because I hear some background noise or some like it's
I
like
think it's the fan. I'll
oh, the
change it.
fan. Okay, so maybe you want to adjust it a bit so we can hear
Yeah, yeah,
you
I'll
more
do it.
clearly. Thank you. So we're going to now go back and invite Sabna from Nepal to continue your talk with us. Sabna, are you ready? We're going to bring you back.
Yes.
Okay,
Am I
great.
audible? Okay. Hello and welcome back, everyone, to my presentation. Next slide, please. Let's talk about the collaborated agencies. Yes, so we have the Asian Girls Campaign, of course, our very own JC Vaishan and GOH, the Cow City Municipality, where the program was executed, the ward number 12, and child clubs of municipality, provincial clubs, and the youth clubs from municipality and the wards. And also, we had the collaboration with the social medias like Facebook, and we have also in the news report like our News Taza and the Nalpur News, they actually cover as etc. And we also had collaborated with the local forest department. Next slide, please. Yes, the solution which I came out to solve the plastic pollutions and to minimize the use of plastic in our community was the first was the awareness session and the strategy making process. So this was held on 14th August 2024. Venue was the municipal hall. Participants were around 45. This participants basically includes the child clubs representatives and the municipal child clubs so that we can, and it was also one of the strategy making process that we discuss about how can we execute our project in our further upcoming days so that it goes influently and in a convenient way. Next slide, please. So the workshop on reuse of degradable and non-degradable waste, it was held on 21st August 2024. The venue was Pragati Toll Kawasati, which is in the executed municipality. Participants were around 50, the locals of a specified particular place, Pragati Toll, and the facilitator was Sagar Karki, who is very experienced on this kind of stuff like managing the degradable and non-degradable waste. And I presented my local presentation about the experience in Taiwan in this project, since there was the presence of ward chairperson and the society development committee chairperson, and there were so many mother groups, and also they were from the youth clubs, and some of them were children's. So this workshop provided the view on how can we reuse the degradable waste and reuse it in a biofertilizer and manage the plastic by wrapping it or rolling it and making the tool so we can have economic benefit too. Next slide, please. Yes, and the plantation, reforesting the community forest. It was held on 20th September 2024, and venue was the community forest, which is just back of my house, and the participants were around 10, and plants used were around 15. So we had a team of kind of like 10 members, and we planted 15 plants in a small area, kind of like an area where they were lacking the trees or plants. The community forest was lacking the plants in it. So we replanted the plants in that area so that the microorganisms will grow and the natural cycle will balance. There were involvement of the emerging youth, which proves that they are into this project. So next slide, please. And the Flogging Walkathon, yes. It was held the freshest concept ever in the Nepal and in our district. It was held on 21st September 2024, and venue was Kawasati Ward number 12, that is on the Narayani River side, and there are some religious and holy places around there where the tourists visit every year, and it was also bounded in a national park area. So we have conducted the walkathon. Participants were kind of about 60, and it was inter-school competitions, and the small kids were so energetic to participate in this competition, and the duration was kind of 3 hours, and we collected 50 kgs of waste from 2.5 kilometer route of our program. Yes, and it held so effectively that there were the collaboration with different news reporters, and they were from the different medias, and yes, of course, we distributed dustbin to the 4 schools of that community. So in the collaboration of Ward number 12. And yes, this project held so efficient, and further the locals, the chairperson of district sports club appreciated that, and they promised to extend this project in coming days too. Next slide, please. So the outcome, the concept of eco-friendly environment to the emerging youth and the locals. Religious and riverside clean so that it supported the clean life on land, also on the clean sanitation, water and sanitation. Locals managing the waste properly. Nowadays, they have a certain idea that they would manage the waste in a proper way. Simple concept of the driving factor that how can we generalize our pocket as our first dustbin. And the appreciation and initiation of good works, as many of the people has appreciated our works through the social media, and I must have to say this, that work has again the view of kind of around 40,000 in the social media, and it became so popular, and some of the other district around us has also initiated this same concept also. So next slide, please. Talking about the evaluation, so experience, it was a beautiful life learning journey. Obvious to have challenges. I have faced challenges in management, like pre-planning and the resource management, also the crowd management, but there is always chance to improve. If there's make a little difference in that process, we will this project will be a milestone to achieve the goal, ultimate goal of providing SDG, and we will have a green and leafy environment and justice to the Mother Earth. It's never too late to start. Let's analyze Pocket as our first dustbin. Next slide, please. Yes, our West, our responsibility. As we are humans, let's act like human. Let's go for the best, hope for the best. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Sabnam. Talking about the greening pockets. Is there,
Yes.
okay, great. And then we're going to invite Hilit back on stage to continue your presentation.
Hi, so it's Ilit again from Israel. So at the end of the last presentation, we were left with an unsolved question. How can we encourage the young generations to recycle and also create a solution that will be a game changer in the recycling field? So at first, we gathered a team built from incredible volunteers, developers, and designers, and we're trying to find a solution. So after a lot of hours of brainstorming, we found a solution that I want to present to you. Next slide, please. So our solution is Bottle Battle, which is an application that is based on animations, fun facts about climate change and global warming, and competition that will encourage children to actually recycle. So our app is based on AI technology, where the user is allowed to take a plastic bottle, scan it, and then get points and reward accordingly. So what we decided to do is create a competition between a few elementary schools, which I will explain more later, and see which school will recycle the most bottles using the application and will be the best recycling school. So I can continue and talk about our app forever because it's something I really, really care about. But they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. So I want to show you a video demonstrating our application. So next, please. Okay, so as you can see, each school received a school code, which they're now entering to the app. And each student was required to enter his full name, that is user for what we have right now, and log into our system. So as you can see, that's the admin team, there's an animation, and when you press, there is an option to scan, as you can see. And using AI, we detect the number of bottles in the picture and give points accordingly. So that's our application. But we have an application, but what's the next step? What should we do now? So next, please. Bottle Battle. Bottle Battle. Okay, so now that our application is ready, what should we do? So to start my trial project, I had a presentation in front of the authorities in my city, which include the head of education, the head of all high schools department, the head of all elementary schools department, the head of marketing and publicity, and so many other amazing people that you can see in the photo below. So in the presentation, I told them about our project and we received important feedback for the future. So that was the first step. Next slide, please. After that, we conducted a 3-day competition between 3 elementary schools in my city. So to pull that off, I had a meeting with each one of the principals, which I explained them about our project and about Taiwan and the AGC and all this incredible opportunity that they have and that they can take part of. And of course, they decided to join, because why not? And we had an incredible competition. And believe me, I couldn't have asked for better results. As you can see in the picture, we had so many plastic bottles. We collected so much plastic that we had to go back and forth from the schools just to collect it all. Yeah, so as you can see in the photo, and next slide, please. We recycled 500 plastic bottles in 3 days of competition. Now, I just want you to imagine the number of plastic bottles, imagine the number of sea turtles that we can save if it wasn't in just 3 schools for 3 days, if it was in 200 schools for 1 month, for 1 year, just how much thousands of plastic bottles that we can recycle using our application. Next slide, please. Okay, wow. So our competition was over. So I want to sum up our project and reflect a little about it. So first of all, we spent months developing a new technological and important application. Of course, just with volunteers. Second, we had the presentation in the city to show and demonstrate what our project is all about. Third, I had a meeting with each one of the principals to convince them to join as well. And fourth, we held our competition and we received so much important feedback from the children saying that they enjoyed, and they even held small competitions between friends to see who would arrange the bottles in the most creative ways and how much they can recycle and just have fun and play with it, meanwhile saving the environment, which was our goal from the beginning. So to conclude our trial project, we managed to increase recycling awareness dramatically. And remember, that was only in 3 schools. Just imagine the impact if it will be in all the country, in the entire world. We managed to encourage so many children to recycle and just make it enjoyable for them and for us as well. So next slide, please. So what's our plan for the future? Well, right now, in the trial project, our application was available just for the schools competing, but we want to continue developing it and open it worldwide for everyone. So everyone would have a chance to join, recycle, save the earth, and help us make such an important impact and save the environment. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hilit. Just a quick clarification. So for the 500 bottles that you recycled together, the 3 schools, did you all scan it into the app?
The children did. That was
The children did.
Each one of them did, yeah.
Okay, got it. So that's how you combine the app with the actual work. Great, thanks for clarifying. And next, we'd like to invite Niraja. Niraja, back. We can't wait to hear the full story. Go ahead, Niraja. 6 minutes.
Yes. So we'll go to the next slide. I'll talk about the solutions for the sustainable tourism. So these are the round 2 slides. So my main project was interacting with students and making students like me aware about sustainable tourism. So these are the 10 schools that I have collaborated with and have presented at most of them. However, due to some technicalities and unavailability of suitable dates, 3 schools are left, but we have already scheduled them in October itself. The social media, we have an Instagram account as Pravasi Bharat and a website which will have all the details of my research, what I've done, and the amount of schools I'm associated with. Will be launching once I complete all of my presentations. I also got a collaboration with Millennium National School's social media group, which has about 3,000 students currently, and a collaboration with PGKM School Media Group with around 1,400 students associated with currently. So on the social media platform, I've reached about 4,400 students by now. Next slide, please. This is the website design. So this is how the website will look like once it will be launched. So it has my project work, my sustainable developmental goals, about the Asian Girls in Action project and everything else. Next slide, please. So this is the impact of my project. So I have personally presented at 7 schools by now in the span of 1 month, and I have reached 1,060 students officially. And very happy to tell you that 15 girls from all of the schools are thinking about registering for the Asian Girls in Action project next year. They'll be turning 15 next year. And they're very happy to at least try out for those 15 girls. Then sustainable tourism is officially included now in the vocational training course at Millennium National School and PGKM School, and they have included it in their syllabus from the next semester. Post-October, I have scheduled multiple activities with the collaborated schools so that now the students are aware about sustainable tourism, and they'll be conducting through suitable activities. And by the end of each presentation, the students have pledged to be responsible and aware tourists in the future. Next slide, please. So these are the solutions. So spreading awareness at the student level so that the youth will be aware about the negative impacts of negative impact of tourism, include sustainable tourism. However, due to heavy floods in my state, I had to require primary data through interviews, and secondary data was conducted through public publications. But in September, I've completed my visits. So there was a little bit of delay, but I've completed it by the end of this month. Conducting fun activities like rapid response, guess the city, and much more. The students got actual case studies, and they were extremely interested, and they were very enthusiastic about the project. And the student interaction also gave me insights about how aware the students are about sustainable tourism practices. And I received a lot of feedback after the presentations. Next slide, please. So these are the sustainable tourism initiatives that I've observed during my project period. So I visited Sarnath, which is one of the most religious and sustainable cities in India. So these are the brick dustbins instead of plastic ones, earthen glass for liquids, they're made up of soil, paper plates for the food stall, recycling kiosks for plastic bottles, and e-vehicles for tourist transport. Next slide, please. So this is the evaluation. So I achieved my main goal of reaching out to students, 1,060 students from just seven schools, sorry. I visited Sarnath, one of the most popular places to gain information about sustainable tourism. I've interacted with on-field experts for primary data who are associated with the NGO of the Forest Department of India called Mangrove Foundation, Mr. Shubham and Mr. Mohan, collaborated with schools in the vicinity, and they have shown absolute interest for a long-term project and have included sustainable tourism in their educational syllabus. And I have included sustainable tourism under vocational training at Millennium National School and PJKM School. Next slide, please. So this is my learning experience. I learned how to connect and collaborate with school authorities and policymakers, designing websites, hosting seminars, and conducting 1-hour sessions at each school, and keeping the students interested and spreading awareness about sustainable tourism. Next slide, please. So this is the revised future action plan. So one of these I've already completed. That in October, very glad to say that we have got the appointment for the Junior Tourism Minister of India, where I'll be presenting my project and the entire draft to him. So continuing my awareness seminars in schools and increasing collaborations with the schools. I have planned multiple inter-school competitions and activities based on sustainable tourism in November. I'm promoting sustainable tourism with tourist companies so that they'll be interested to incorporate it in their tours. Next slide, please. As a conclusion, I would like to tell you that right now we have reached 5,400 students with the span of just 7 schools, and 3 schools are still left. So very happy to complete the collaborations, and we'll be associating it with them more. And by next week, in the month of October, I'll be submitting this entire document and project to the Junior Tourism Minister of India, Mr. Naik, and we are very happy. I was very happy that I could complete whatever all I planned. And the website will be rolling out once I complete all of my presentations. So yeah, that is pretty much it. So let's all be sustainable tourists in the future and be responsible, and the youth is now aware. Thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations, Niraja, for sharing with us this presentation and also for a very comprehensive program. Next, we'd like to invite back on stage Sophie from Mongolia to share with us the solution you have.
All right. Okay, let's start. So, for our project overview, due to health circumstances and, I have not been feeling well and starting from August. So I started my project from starting from September, and during September I have mostly been doing, I wrote emails to construction sites that can, collab with me and that can like sponsor the schools that are in, countryside that can like build a, changing room or like lockers. And I've gotten a few responses that, so there'll be, I think there definitely will be more, going on later. So for key activities, uh, I've so in our school, I mostly collaborated with my school and Princess Center. So for our school, we have a morning assembly every day. So for 3 ongoing days, we had an assembly that's based on my project and AGC. So on the first day, we did informational workshops, skill building activities, especially among girls. And then the second day, it was mostly about like, mentorship opportunities for AGC and advocacy campaign. Then the last day, we like did like a volunteer day for, if you want to join our project, this is this and that, like something like that. Then starting from, well, I think it was September 3rd, no, September 23rd, yeah, I collaborated with 3 schools that, and taught them what like actual gender equality was, especially for female athletes among them. Then also their rights to, have a clean bathroom and changing rooms. And also, yes, yeah, also we started posting on Facebook and Instagram. Yeah, and I think that's it. Next page, please. Okay, so for our creative solutions, we mostly we created an event that's mainly based for girls and also community outreach. I think Mongolia won gold in karate for Paralympics this year. And so we have reached out to that specific athlete, and also we won I think it was second, no, not second place. It was like fifth place for swimming in Paralympic. So I reached out to them to give us an interview, and the editing is still in the process. So yeah, and educational initiatives. So for some public schools, they don't offer educational, physical activities that's more girls. So yeah, we have been asking some of the schools to add in the, inclusivity and sportsmanship. Yeah. Then policy advocacy. Yeah, this is like more intricate, so I didn't do much on this, but it was mostly with, our school principal. So yeah, I really don't have anything to say on that. And yeah, the next one, please. Oh yeah, and lessons learned, future plans. So I really need to take care of myself better because of my I tend to get sick a lot. So yeah, I should have just, started my project really earlier on than, started like, collecting volunteers as much as possible, because it was really hard for me to gather partnerships and need for ongoing advocacy. And yeah, I think that was it. And then sustainability, I've lost, I needed strategies to ensure projects long-term sustainability. Oh my God. Okay. And continued impact. Yeah. And so are we done? No. Right?
Yes.
Okay. I
Sophie,
think
you're
we are.
done?
Yeah.
Thank you, Sophie. Thank you, Sophie. And we understand that, yeah, you're actually not feeling well. These couple days you're sick. But
Yeah, very.
we're really worried about you. But we're
Yeah.
glad that despite you're not feeling well, you decided to still join us for the final presentation. And
Oh, thank
congratulations
you.
on delivering it. Thank you.
Thanks. No
And last but
problem.
not the least, we have Zainab
Supposed to be
for the
Zainab.
very final piece of our 10 fellow presentation. So Zainab, the floor is yours.
Oh, I think it's Hilit's presentation on the screen.
Here. Okay, good. We have Zainab. 6 minutes.
Okay, wait a second, Han, please. So there's Hilit's presentation
Oh,
on the
sorry,
screen.
the
It's not mine.
presentation should be Zainab. Yeah, we want to make sure. Thank you. Give us a second, and we will call out the final presentation for Zainab. We were at the middle of Zainab's talk, and we're going to bring you back. Zainab, you can give us a recap before we get the slide.
Okay, so my topic was about child early and forced marriages. It is a
Yes.
little different from, I think, everyone's project, and it's a little too, close to my heart, I'd say, because, being a girl myself and everyone else, we have 10 beautiful girls here, who are all supporting their projects. I think it is very important for every girl to receive their rights in terms of education, in terms of their right to marry whoever they want to and whatever age they want to. And I think it's unfair that, there are people in the world who
Yeah.
who have access to all these rights, and on the other hand there are people who actually don't even know what their rights are. So I think it's very important for my project to be
And you talked
displayed.
about like 4 out of 5. Does that apply to your peer? Okay, we see your slide is here. I'll let you go ahead with the solution part.
Okay, so in
Is this
terms
where
of
you like to
collaboration,
start? The collaboration?
yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, go
So
ahead.
in terms of collaboration, I collaborated with different people from different industries, varying on the number of activities I had. For example, I collaborated with various deans from different universities in Bahawalpur, one of which was from Women's University, the dean from Management Sciences. The other one was of the dean of Social Work, and I also collaborated with Punjab Ombudsman. He was the regional officer as well as the deputy director for social work in Bahawalpur. And I also partnered with around 5 local schools for the project. I also initiated a social media campaign. It started in the end of August. And up till now, I probably have around 170 plus followers and counting. And I think the response was well received. A lot of people DM'd me separately saying that the cause is pretty noble and what could they do, in order to help me. As far as funds are concerned, the funds were allocated based on the number of activities and their separate particulars. For example, logistics, food, the print media, transportation, and rent for various activities, etc. Next slide, please. So here is a comprehensive approach on what was my actual project and what versus what I planned and did for the project. So initially there was no social media campaign. It was thanks to someone in the power camp who gave me the idea of starting a social media campaign because it was important to address the issue on a social level. And I did start the social media campaign for the project. In the beginning, I was supposed to only partner with 2 local schools, but I increased the number of local schools because I think telling about children to this on a beginning level is very important. There was only one workshop for vulnerable girls. I planned for two. One workshop initially was just for the girls, and the other one was for their families. As far as the capacity building seminar is concerned, it was only a single one, but we did two. One for spreading awareness, and the other one was to check the results of our awareness campaign. There was no brochure distribution campaign. It was just a print media campaign. But seeing the response of my fellows, university fellows, I started a brochure distribution campaign. I distributed more than 200 brochures, and it was my self-designed brochure that I did specifically for the campaign. And there was no involvement of universities, but I planned on involving them because I think involving youth in activities that are important for the future is very important. And there was no local level CPCs, but I am planning. CPC is Child Protection Committee, but I'm planning to involve a local level Child Protection Committee. It will be a WhatsApp community with all my friends and family from different areas of Pakistan, so that they can check in their surroundings if anyone is in need of any sort of advocacy or assistance related to child early and forced marriages. And there was no webinar, but I have a webinar planned. It will be on Sunday, tomorrow, and everyone is invited. I'll send the link on my Instagram. You can check, and you can join the webinar for tomorrow. Next slide, please. So these are all the activities that I did. The first one was the social media campaign. uh, the second one was workshops. I held 2 workshops, one specifically for the girls, and the other one was for their families. And we tried to convince them, some of them, because they have stopped their education. So we tried to convince them to start their education again. And some of them were convinced to start their education and continue their working side by side. So, so that their parents are also convinced as well. We held 2 capacity building seminars. Mr. Shahzad is a civil lawyer for more than 2 decades. He delivered a session about the negative impacts of child early and forced marriages. And then we had one where we invited government officials, to see the impact of the previous capacity building seminar. Next slide, please. So this was the brochure distribution campaign. I distributed brochure to around more than 200 people in my university. Everyone was excited to know what I was doing, since I've been roaming around every day giving brochures to everyone. And, majority of them were excited to see what I'll do in the future. I gave sessions in 5 local schools. The kids, I was surprised to see how involved they were for the project. Everyone was asking me what the Garden of Hope Foundation is about, what I did in Taiwan, and how I am going to implement my further activities. And I also gave a presentation in my university. My dean was very helpful throughout. He said that it's such a noble cause that I want you to give a presentation to everyone in the department, so that they also know how important it is to address this issue. Next slide, please. Reflecting on the project, I think the biggest successes that I had were positive feedback from the school students. Many of them were also willing to join the Asian Girls campaign in the future, and were asking me about what projects they should promote. And the girls' attitude towards education during the workshops was also something I didn't anticipate. As well as religious leaders' response in seminar, they were willing to help and support us throughout. The challenges that I faced were resistance from the vulnerable girls' parents, but surprisingly, a few victims of child early and forced marriages present in the seminar, raised voice against the issue, and through that, we were able to convince the parents. The weather conditions were also a big issue, and I was a little hesitant about telling the entire issue to kids because they have delicate minds. And through all these experiences, I was able to gather broader views on the topic. I was also able to see the few loopholes, and I will do my best to correct them. Next slide, please. And so, more than 20% people were unaware about the issue, and I was able to spread knowledge in a lot of people and was able to empower around 100 girls and more than 100 adults. Next slide, please. So for my future proposal, I plan introducing community service to see how CEFM affected other areas of Pakistan and child protection committees in view. And one of our major goals would be to hold plays in school and village level and to collaborate with influencers to further increase the impact. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And a big applause to our 10 fellows. Congratulations to all of you for the presentations. And a big applause together. Congratulations. It's really a long journey. And doing this is really not easy. And I can't believe that I didn't get to use my whistle. Everybody had excellent management with time. So before we enter jury review time, I'm going to invite to the stage, to our virtual stage, our three jurors, Beatriz Jimenez, and also Professor Oh Ziqi. She is next to me, and also Director Sophie Guo from Fidelity. So we're going to have around 10 minutes for a Q&A session. I'd like to invite our three jurors. You may ask broad questions to any of the fellows, or you have specific question to one fellow. Either way works. How about let's start from Professor Ziqi. Oh, who is next to me?
Hi, everyone. It's a wonderful presentations. I learned a lot, and I can feel the very strong energies that you brought by the wonderful outcome of your project. I'm very impressed by how you use technology as new innovation. So I actually would like to ask Hilly and also Niraja, because both of you, one of you, Hilly actually established an app
Yeah.
for the battle, and also Niraja, you mentioned about website, but I think this was very innovative. But I'm also want to know after the project how you're going to maintain this website or app. Thank you.
Okay, so that is Professor Ozuchi's question for Hilit and Niraja about the maintenance of the two technology tools that you have developed after this program. How about let's collect the rounds of questions first. And then I would like to invite Director Sophie Guo. Are there any questions, either general or specific ones that you'd like to ask our fellows?
Yeah, I have one question to Zanak from
Zainab, yeah.
Zanak, yeah, from Pakistan. Yeah, because this topic is very critical because it's actually very complicated complicated issue based on not only the equality, the gender equality, inequality, but also the cultural or maybe economy issues. Yeah, I'm just wondering, can you elaborate more about how you do more family communication with the parents, as well as is Instagram a popular tool in Pakistan? Yeah, because I'm not sure whether the target audience you're going to communicate, they use Instagram that you showed in the presentation as well as your reports.
So this is one specific question to Zainab about the issues that you're tackling, how you specifically communicate with the adults, the parents, and also whether you use Instagram or other social media tools in communicating and advocating for this very controversial or sensitive issue. And then I would like to invite Beatriz from the Asian Foundation. Do you have any general or specific questions you'd like to raise to our fellows? Can we bring on stage?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I want to ask a question. I mean, that a general question for every fellows, 10 fellows.
Yes.
Why is important to raise a social issue in your country, and what big challenge that you face out for your country? Just it.
Can you
Thank you.
repeat the first question first? The
Uh,
first question,
yeah. Why it's important to raise a social issue in your country?
so the first question, and this is more a general question for all of the fellows. Why do
Yeah.
you think the issue that you have raised, the different social issues, climate, environment, SDG related issues that you have raised, why do you think it is important? Why did you take on this particular issue? Why do you think it's important? And what is a big challenge in your country? And maybe there are connections between that. So anyone can answer that question. I'll just take a hand. But
Can you
before we go into that general set of questions, how about let's invite Hilit and Niraja and then Zainab within 1 minute just to briefly answer the questions raised to you. Niraja,
I
let's
have
start
a
from you
question
about
before we start.
technology.
May I just ask a question before we start? Right now, we have 1 minute to answer the question we were asked specifically about our project. And then
Correct.
we need to answer the general question.
Correct. Yeah. So, Niraja, would you like to start?
Yes. So my website, so there's domain that is registered in India. There's like a Canva website. It's a local website. Or you might be aware about it. It's internationally. So that is where we design the entire website. And after that, you've got to register a domain on your name, which has a specific fee. But it's a single time fee. So once you pay the fee, then your website stays on the internet. And considering I have a collaboration with two media groups of the school, they're helping me keep up the funding and like kind of design and add up to my website as it goes. And they're all website experts in that media group, so they'll also be associated in case any problem arises with the website. So once that one time fee is submitted to that domain, that is how the website stays on the internet, and that is how I'm planning to maintain it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Niraja, about the website. And next, Hilit, about the app.
Okay, so after we developed the application, as I said in my presentation, right now the app is only available for the school. But after developing it more, we will open it for everyone. And we want to maintain it by continuing the relationships with the schools, but expanding to more schools, to more cities in my country. And from that part, we also want to expose it to people as for everyday use, for example, so I could compete with my friends in addition to the school's competition and stuff like that. So we want to try to expose it through these school systems and then allow people to actually compete with their friends and just to have fun in general. So that's how we plan to do it. And of course, we will use social media and other websites that we have to further expose it. Thank you.
Thank you. And then back to Zainab. 1 minute for your response.
Okay, so as far as teaching the parents is concerned, we asked them about what their possible reasons for marrying their kids early is, and majority of them answered poverty, or many of them have it's population inflation. Many of them have so many kids that they cannot manage to raise all of them. For that, poverty can only poverty, especially generational poverty, can only be sorted out when their children are educated enough, to find jobs and do well for themselves. So that is how we were able to convince them to send their kids to school so that they become a famous individuals in future. And as far as the other question is concerned about social media, I utilize social media because urban population, majority of it is on social media. The rural population isn't. What I wanted to do was I wanted to influence urban people to look around in in the rural areas in their community to see if anyone is suffering from CEFM and to help them better. So that is why I utilize social media, because it's a form of awareness. I also used print media as well. So that is it.
Thank you. Thank you, Zainab. And then the final question for all of the fellows, not you can volunteer to answer the question. Before we proceed with that, for the three jurors, do you have any other burning questions that you have to ask in order for you to make the final decision? If not, okay, we will proceed with this more general question about how you decided on taking on this particular SDG issue and how that issue ties to the larger social challenge that your country is facing. Who would like to start?
I'll
Okay, go
start.
ahead, Sarah. I see, yeah, you can use the hand raising icon and I will call out your names in order. So I see Sarah raising the hand. Sarah, go ahead. And next will be Sabna.
Okay, so the reason why I would like to focus more on quality education and practical education is because a significant number of graduates in Bangladesh are struggling to find jobs because they lack hands-on skills that employers need. And also, the youngest population in the world, Bangladesh faces a high rate of youth unemployment because of the lack of practical education and hands-on skills. And because our conventional education system prioritizes more on theoretical knowledge, it limits the students to critically think about it. So our educational system overall just lacks to provide students with proper guidance because theoretical knowledge at the end of the day is just studying within the books, nothing else outside of it. So, which is why I feel like, as a teacher myself, that I have engaged with students half my age, I was able to learn that these skills are very much needed, which is why I would
Okay.
like to focus more on education in
Thank you.
Bangladesh.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next, Sabam. And after Sabnam, it will be Tandon.
Yeah. So, in my talking about the scenario in my country, it's more the youth who are irresponsible towards managing the plastic waste. They are so proud while throwing the waste, but they are so ashamed of picking up the waste beside him or her. Like, that's why to generalize the things and to make them responsible towards managing their own waste and to manage their own waste, and it's to realize, make them realize that it's their responsibility to clean the mother earth and to have the surrounding free of any kind of pollutions. And also ultimately we all want it change. It's very good to start within you, with you, because it's they are always open like this people with the senior post. Oh, it's their duty, the municipality will come and like free made it free of like pollution. So this kind of stuff is going on. So ultimate thing is to make them responsible towards their mother earth and the environment. I think it is important to raise a issue of plastic pollution in our country. Thank you.
Thank you, Savna. And Tandon. And next, I will call Maya. Okay, Tandon, go ahead.
Yes, for me, I was inspired to bring this mental health project to support mental health of university students because as a teenager myself, I know that teenagers go through a lot of struggles in life during that period of teenage years. And for this, I thought my project would be beneficial for the students to share their struggles, share their experiences of how they overcome the issues that they face. And during that process of being in a group, they can share how they overcome the tips and tactics of how to succeed in something or how to overcome some struggles. So during that phase, I think that mental health issues can be resolved, sharing the common problems, finding common issues that we face, and also discussing and coming up with new ideas on how to overcome those issues. So that is one important thing that I noted about my own project. And it is also true that
Thank
it
you,
is a
Tandon.
stigma.
1 minute. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then Maya, Zainab, you will be next after Maya. Maya, go ahead. How
Okay,
this
so
ties to the larger challenge in your country.
yes, so I have been an advocate of a smoke-free environment since 2020, and the reason why I chose this project is because it is already becoming a public health crisis in the Philippines. As I have mentioned earlier, smoking and vaping contributes to serious health diseases, and I believe that with awareness and enough knowledge that I can share with other people and the skills that they can also share and cascade to other people will bring about a big impact and positive changes in the community, especially it will be if we will be able to expand this project even outside the country. So I am glad that I was able to conduct this project, and that's the reason why I chose it. Thank you.
Thank you, Maya. Zainab, you're next, and next I'll call Niraja.
So the issue of CEFM has been prevailing in Pakistan for quite a lot of time, but people don't really do anything about it. Of course, there are rules, but government officials, especially in rural areas, they do not, look after it that much. There are hardly a few NGOs in Pakistan that are doing it, and people are left in despair. So that is why, I even named my project "Reaching the Unreached" because I wanted to, be a voice for someone, who hasn't been talked about, or an issue that has not been discussed among various social issues that are in Pakistan. And it's not just one problem, it's then again teenage pregnancies, women's health, then intergenerational poverty. So I think in order to make a better country, we need to give rights to every individual that is present in our particular country. And so I think it is very important for this issue to get raised among various issues that are being raised in our country as well. So that is it.
Thank you, Zainab. And then Niraja. Next, I'll call on Hilit.
Hi. So, India is an extremely diverse geographically and population wise, and Indian people love to travel. So, tourism in our country is quite important and it generates a lot of revenue in our country as well. However, people are highly neglectful and unaware about what the problems they're causing due to tourism. And I was a frequent traveler, so I have observed all of these things firsthand as well. And especially students like me who love to travel but they're highly neglectful and they're not responsible made me want to bring a change and start the change from the student level itself, so that in the future when they're travelers and when they're traveling the world, as the world comes closer, they'll be responsible and sustainable of what they're doing. So that was the main problems that I observed. And India is very geographically diverse as well, so preserving the environment while promoting tourism was the main balance, and which is why sustainable tourism. Yeah, so that is how
Thank you. Thank you, Niraja. Hilit, you're up, and next it will be Sophie.
Okay,
Hilit, go ahead.
So for me, as a child, I traveled a lot in Europe and in the world in general, and I always saw that in other countries, many people recycled, and there were like a lot of recycling bins in the street and in many places, like in Taiwan, which I was so impressed. But unfortunately, in my country, the situation isn't so much like that. Only 14% of people recycle, which is a really low number, and mainly because kids find it boring. And I believe that younger children are the next generation that can actually make a change and improve our earth for the better. So that's why I decided to focus on younger children and on recycling, because plastic pollution is a really important problem in the entire world. And I believe that we should do whatever we can to make it better and to improve our world. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And then Sophie, could you turn on the mic? Okay, go ahead. And then Chika, you'll be next.
Okay, so as you may know, Mongolia is it's a nomad country, right? We travel around the countryside a lot, and in the early ages, people used to be very, women didn't play sport back then. Now, in the 21st century, girls play sport, everyone plays sport. And I have noticed most of my friends struggling with changing rooms and lockers, bathrooms. Public bathroom is very rare here, and even if it is here, you have to pay for it, which is just makes no sense. And I don't play sport, but most of my friends play sport, and seeing them be in a very sexist and very it's misogynistic, in a platform, it's just very depressing to see. And because of that, I just had this idea of it's a very normalized thing in Mongolia. So and yeah, so
Thank you,
I had this
Sophie.
idea.
Okay.
What's
Yeah, we
no,
got
no,
it. Yeah, about the
okay.
advocacy part. And then Chika, you'll go, and then finally Sunshine. Chika.
So, Indonesia's been the second largest contributors of waste. The number one is China, so that's why it's very important. And why I'm targeting the vulnerable children is orphans, because orphans often having less intentions from the government. And also, I want to reduce the inequalities with inviting them to my village and to learn together. And also, we are not just holding classes, but we are also doing an online monitoring, like in 21 days monitor through their teacher, because following to the Dr. Maxwell Maltz theory that habits can be shaped by at least 21 days. So I hope that after joining my project with various and through online monitoring, the positive habits will be shaped to the children and cut off the cycle of throwing garbage on the river.
Thank you. Thank you, Chica. And then Sunshine.
Okay, so why I want to do this is because marine crisis, it does not have border. Everyone in the world should deserve a chance to know what's really going on in the ocean. And so raising awareness, I'm going to start with my own country because since Taiwan is surrounded by the ocean, many people's life is deeply connected to the ocean. So, and it also shows a very good example because many places in Taiwan, it used to be destroyed, but now it's being recovered. So I think it shows a really good example, and people in Taiwan should learn about it, and then we'll bring it to other places in the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sunshine. And once again, big congratulations to our 10 fellows.